Welcome to Legacy Lounge, the podcast where you'll discover how to lead with purpose and build a legacy that matters. So if you're ready to step into your full potential, show up authentically for yourself and others, and create a lasting impact on the world, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Hello, I am Brin'na Rollins-Williams, your host, and I'm excited for today's conversation and to highlight leadership scars that can turn into superpowers. So I'm sitting here in my office, and next to me is a Ziploc bag of multiple empty prescriptions. You know, just your standard white cap, orange plastic. And as I look at these, each bottle, to me, also represents a story of what corporate success costed me and why I'm sharing this with you today. So after 11 years at Target as a senior director for 6 of those 11, I was managing over 500 million in operations and sales a year across 10 stores in 2 states. And it was my freaking dream role. At least that's what it looked like. And that's definitely the exterior look that I put up as a facade. And it's what was all over my LinkedIn, highlighting the success and the title. And wow, she looks really young to be a senior director in the company. This one, anti-anxiety medication, because what my profile did not show was the sheer level of everyday operating anxiety that I do believe a small amount of is normal for everyone to operate with day to day. But that anxiety for me turned into panic attacks. And it was panic attacks in between the bathroom stalls in my stores. It was during a water break at company meetings. It was asking my boss to hold on for just a second so I could refill my water, when really I needed to step off camera because I could feel it bubbling up inside of me. Those prescription bottles that were kept safe as my saving grace in my desk drawer, the way that my hands would shake before speaking up just to know how I was going to be reacted to or what my boss was going to say next was just absolutely debilitating, to be honest. And all of this was before my 33rd birthday. The progression was so subtle. It was so subtle. That's the thing about toxic environments. They don't break you all at once. It is slow growing. First, it was the prescription for occasional anxiety. Then it was the anti-anxiety panic attack every 4-hour medication to avoid a heart attack. It was additional panic attack support and the old faithful sleep aid. Because when you have anxiety and you have panic attacks, the last thing you're going to do is have some peaceful sleep. I can still hear the voices crystal clear in my mind today of the feedback from my boss after I explained, I am really struggling to feel psychologically safe in this environment anymore. And I am out of ideas of how to make this doable, to make this tolerable for myself. And I can still hear the voice of a boss who did not listen when I said that the environment was becoming psychologically unsafe, not just for me, but for my peers and for all of our teams. When it was responded with, "You're just too sensitive, Brin'na. Stop nitpicking. Oh, you're so emotional. There must be something that maybe you are doing wrong." Now, the day after, I was offered a severance package wrapped with that beautiful NDA. I was sitting in my office. It was super quiet. I had the door closed for privacy. I was bawling my eyes out, but as I looked around my office and I looked at a picture of my team, the team that I had led the last 6 years and moved across the country, to take on and turn around and stabilize and re-engage. And I'm looking at the faces in that photo and looking at my nameplate on my desk and thinking about all of the goodness that I was supposed to feel. I didn't feel any of it. And I was sitting in the exact environment that I had always dreamt of as my dream job, as I can't wait to get to that level. I can't wait to have that much responsibility. I can't wait to have that platform, because there are so many people that I can reach to impact in a positive way. Man, things can change super quick. The NDA was sitting there. All it needed was my signature. The money might have been significant, and was, but that was not what I was after ever. You know what's even heavier than that stack of papers? The weight of all of the bottles that stacked up in my bags. I sat there in the office for so long, just frozen. I didn't even know what to do. I didn't know what to think. I had called my dad. I had called my husband. I had called my best friend. I'm like, what do I do? Tell me what to do. And I feel super lucky for my support system, because all of them said, do what feels right for you. I'll be here for you. I'll support you in whatever decision you make. All that matters is that you're happy at the end of the day and that you're okay. And I just felt like, why could they all easily say that? Why was I struggling with this to make a decision? Because I knew I couldn't stay another second, because it was at the expense of myself. And I looked down at my hands that were supposed to sign this document and make this a clean cut, fast, smooth separation for me to just get out of the way and for business to operate as usual. And I'm not knocking that. The purpose of a business in general is to drive profitability, over time improve results, retain your team, keep the shareholders happy, and make money. And I knew the clean cut, quickest way for this to be a smooth, quiet exit is to comply like majority of people had with the company for years. And I couldn't do it. I looked down at my hands and they were shaking. All I had to do was sign, pack up my personal belongings in a box, get in my car, drive away, and never think twice about it, nor be able to say anything about it to anybody. And I just sat with it for a couple hours. And after a little while, I realized my hands weren't shaking anymore. And they weren't shaking anymore because for the first time, after making all of my calls to my personal board of directors and my circle of influence and my safe space, after venting forever about what was going on at work and why no one was doing anything, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I stood up, I walked out, and I chose me. I know this episode sounds a tad bit different than normal, but it's because it's a serious conversation that is not being had enough. I chose to make a very difficult decision to self-select me out of my dream job position. And if, as I explained, me sitting in my office for hours, from bawling my eyes out, hyperventilating, shaky hands, anger like I have never felt in my soul before, confusion, fear, financial stability questions, I mean, I lost it. What was going to be my worth? Everyone knows me as senior director or Bullseye Brin'na, or yeah, she started with Target right out of college. Look at her go. Who the hell am I going to be without this? Without this 11-year digital resume that everyone on the outside knows me by, but that is also ignoring or completely clueless as to what was going on behind those screens and how it was impacting me, my marriage, my family, my future, every second of every day for months. And I want you to know that if you are sitting in your office right now, you're sitting in a conference room, you might be sitting in your car or just sitting down at home and you're listening to this episode. If you are holding on to that metaphorical NDA, I want you to hear me right now. Your voice is worth more than any amount of silence money ever will be. That sound, that was the panic attack medication. And let me tell you about the first day, I didn't need it. I was sitting in therapy around month 6 of my internal rebuild hiatus that was more than needed. And my therapist asked me a simple question that was like a gut punch of reality check here. He simply said, when was the last time that you felt like yourself? I couldn't remember. I couldn't. And a couple weeks ago, I was back in urgent care. And the reason that I was back in urgent care was because my body was rejecting all of the same medication that I required to function with a year prior. It wasn't because I was sick. It wasn't because I was making unhealthy choices. It wasn't because something catastrophic had happened. I simply fainted. And I fainted because the prescription amount that I am still on for a baseline that I was prescribed to be able to function normally 2 years ago no longer operates the same in my body. Let that sink in. My body was too strong now for the medication that I desperately needed to survive my dream job. The last bottle. And this one right here, I'm keeping on my desk. Not as a reminder of what I lost, but of evidence of what I chose. Because now I get to help others. And I get to help others from my own scars, my own lessons learned, my own experiences, that when they share heartfelt, vulnerable insight into what they are dealing with and that they don't know what to do, I genuinely mean it when I say, I hear you. I know where you're at. I'm with you. But I understand people differently now. And I think I can speak for my prior direct reports or teams that I have been a part of. I really got to know them. I got to know their spouse. I got to know their kids. I got to know what sports their kids played. I got to know what they did as a hobby. I got to know where they went on their family vacations. But I also got to know what they were struggling with. And now that I am out of a quote corporate environment and I'm working with individual clients across different corporations, I'm working with teams collectively inside of organizations. And after nurturing relationships long enough and having really good, real conversations, people are opening up and they're sharing their experiences with me. And they're asking for support. Some of them sit in silence and their eyes tell it all. And the only thing that I need to say is, I understand you. I can relate. And with every single empty bottle, I now get to embrace this gift and celebrate the rebuilding that I have done personally over the last year. March 24th of 2024 was my last day as a senior director in corporate. It is now April 23rd of 2025. So about 13 months after that exit, and I now get to embrace the full gift of having rebuilt myself from the inside out. Mentally, physically, emotionally, you name it. But you know what? I hope my therapist is listening to this episode, because right now I get to fully be me again. The authentic me, the fully present me, the strongest version of me. And that version of you, it's there too. It's not going to come easy. But if I could tell you how worth it is on the other side, I would. That's one of those things that you can't describe until you experience it yourself. But I hope that sharing my own journey and my own testimony with you gives you hope that when you're ready to make a choice for you, that you can do it too. So let's talk about what you can choose. You can start tracking your body's signals now. Are you researching different medications to get through the meetings that are just intolerable? Does Sunday night fill you up with excitement, or does it fill you up with dread? Because that matters. Also, how are you sleeping? When was the last time you slept all the way through the night? No waking up in a night terror, no waking up in a pool of sweat, no struggling to actually fall asleep when you lay down and close your eyes. Those signals from your body matter. And I encourage you to document your value violations. What I mean by that is, what makes you feel sick to your stomach? Is it when your leader directly asks you to cover up for them? Is it when you witness behavior happen in front of your eyes that doesn't align with the values that are posted on the wall in the company? What makes you feel sick to your stomach? Where are you staying silent? Where do you know and everybody else knows what is happening, but nobody is speaking up about it? What would you tell your younger self about the situation that you're witnessing right now? What advice would you give them? How would you tell them to protect themselves? How would you tell them to care about themselves? I encourage you to review your support system, because they're going to come in handy when you least expect it. Save this episode, screenshot the show notes. Reach out to me for your own confidential leadership reset session. It's a strategy protected time for just you and I. I want to hear your story. I want to share details of mine, and I want to offer support where I know you need it, because I've been there, and you don't have to stay stuck. Those scars can be your superpower, because you deserve a leadership journey that does not come with a prescription. Now, to reiterate, all these empty bottles, they are not my story anymore. They're permission for you to write a different ending for yours too. So what are you going to choose? Are you ready to rewrite your own leadership story? Because I have opened up 3 spots this week for private leadership reset sessions with me. You can DM me the word reset. You can click on the link in these show notes, or you can just send me an email or a message, because I'm here for you and I'm going to see it. Your prescription-free future is waiting. This is Brin'na Rollins-Williams, and you are in the Legacy Lounge. That's it for this episode of Legacy Lounge, a podcast dedicated to empowering you to lead with purpose. Remember, leadership begins with you. When you're connected to your values, strengths, and authentic self, you show up powerfully for your team, businesses, and everyone you lead. To authentically lead others, you must first lead yourself. I challenge you to consider, How are you investing in your personal growth to create a legacy that you envision? Thank you for joining me in the Legacy Lounge. If this episode sparked any thoughts or inspired action, I'd love to hear from you. I'm your host, Brin'na Rollins-Williams. Connect with me on LinkedIn or other socials, and let's continue the conversation. Remember, your legacy is built one intentional step at a time.